8:35 and the Gambling Commission has launched an urgent investigation into what we call adult gaming centres after a BBC investigation revealed failures in the industry's self-exclusion scheme.
Problem gamblers can choose to be banned from visiting venues which provide high-stakes slot machines for over 18s. But when File on 4 Investigates put the exclusion scheme to the test, its undercover reporter was only ejected from one of the 14 premises they visited. Alistair Fee reports.
At up to £2 a spin every few seconds, slot machines offer players the hope of quick cash.
Let's make you a winner.
So can you see the numbers are turning?
Yeah.
And the red light is on?
Yeah, perfect.
We've been undercover to test if the industry is doing enough to protect people, and the results are shocking.
They didn't bat an eyelid. Played my games and then left after 20 minutes.
On high streets up and down the country, adult gaming centres where you can play slots for up to 24 hours a day are on the rise. Data from 2022 shows there were more than 500,000 breaches of self-exclusion schemes across all types of gambling venue.
In the height of gambling, I could go in every day, and it could be anything from £20 to £1,000.
Tracy Page has struggled for years with gambling addiction and has tried to stop adult gaming centres letting her back in.
I was able to re-enter their premises very easily.
What do you think about that system that's designed to protect people like you?
It fails. There's too many gaps, too many loopholes, and I don't believe staff have got the knowledge or the training to be able to say, you know, you need to step away.
Portsmouth has one of the highest numbers of adult gaming centres, or AGCs, in the country when compared to the number of people who live there. Our undercover reporter Greg, posing as a problem gambler, attempted to self-exclude from 14 venues in the city. He provided personal details and a photo, meaning he should be recognised if he tries to enter and be asked to leave. When we put it to the test, he was only refused entry from one venue on our list.
I've spent 20 minutes in there, you know, not skulking in the corner, openly playing. All of the venues, they come up and they ask you, do you want a drink as part of the hosting arrangement? They've absolutely clocked who I am. There's no doubt that I've been in there openly playing. If they wanted to spot me, they could do.
We put our findings to Sir Ian Duncan-Smith, who chairs the Gambling Reform All-Party Parliamentary Group.
Well, that's reality on the ground. That's what you see from these centres. And because nothing is enforced, therefore they don't really care.
The Gambling Commission told us the results of this BBC investigation are very concerning, and they will be taking urgent steps to investigate what has happened.
That's good, that's great.
As a result of our investigation in Portsmouth, the City Council has said they will support the Gambling Commission, who oversee operating licences for the gambling industry and can take action for any breach of conditions and codes of practice. Alistair Fee, BBC News.
Let's talk further about this. We're joined now on the sofa by Will Prochaska, who's Director of Coalition to End Gambling Ads, and by Sam Badcock, former gambler and now campaigner. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Sam, I say former gambler, it's been, what, 5 weeks?
5 weeks gamble-free.
And how are you doing?
I'm in treatment with the NHS Northern Gambling Service. I've not gambled since I've begun treatment. It takes a while to recover from gambling, as you can imagine. Yeah. But I am, amazingly, I'm doing really well. I'm really happy, and I'm very grateful to all the support I've received from NHS and other people. So,
well, good for you, and I'm sure people watching this morning will be wishing you well.
I'm really optimistic for the future, and there is hope. You know, there is. You know, don't give up. You know, it's the message.
You've tried to stop before, and you have tried to go through this process, haven't you, of excluding, banning yourself from premises. What has been your experience of doing that in the past?
I got addicted to gambling via a fixed odds betting terminal when I was 23. I'm 36 now. A fixed odds betting terminal is a slot machine. And I've spent the last 14 years trying to ban myself from these machines. I found it to be impossible, right? I banned myself from over 100 venues. I've only ever been recognised 6 times. And bingo halls and casinos have membership-based self-exclusion schemes. But bookies, like William Hill and stuff, and arcades like Admiral, they don't have membership-based self-exclusion. So it relies upon me giving them my photograph, and they're supposed to recognise me as self-excluded and ask me to leave if I am lapsing. But my experience has been that doesn't happen. One arcade I went in, they recognised me as self-excluded, and they basically said you can gamble. I know, yeah. That's what I've been dealing with. Do you know what I mean? So,
Will, how familiar is this sort of story to you?
It's all too familiar, and I'm shocked by your story and your investigation, but I'm not surprised. And really, this type of self-regulation underpins the way that gambling is regulated in Great Britain. So effectively, operators are allowed to lure people in, get them hooked onto games that have been designed to be addictive, and then once they become addicted and are being seriously harmed, the onus then goes on to the individual to self-exclude themselves, and the operator, the person profiting from them, is expected to enforce that. And when I tell that story to anybody, they think, well, this is a ridiculous way to regulate gambling, but this is literally how it's done. And what we have is a government which is trying to grow the gambling industry. They want gambling to thrive, and they don't think people in Britain gamble enough. And so they're supportive of this very permissive regulatory regime, which is overseen by the Gambling Commission. And what we need is a complete U-turn. We need the government to realise that they must start to put people's health above the profits of the industry. And if they do that, it'll be good for the economy, it'll be good for people, and it'll have enormous public support.
Sam, if the system had been stronger, if you'd been on the list and you literally hadn't been allowed to gamble in those places, do you think you'd have been able to stop sooner?
So gambling's online and in the high street. As soon as I got addicted to gambling, I banned myself online with GamStop. And then I wanted to try and ban myself in the high street. To answer your question, yes, absolutely right. So I tried to ban myself within the first couple of weeks of getting hooked on gambling when I was 23. And if it had been that I had gone in and the ban had worked, the staff did recognise me and did ask me to leave, and that worked for every venue. Absolutely, yes. That's why I signed up. I believed in the system. I was going to follow it.
So how much pain and damage do you think you could have been saved then if you'd been able to stop years ago?
I've written down everything that's happened to me in the last 14 years, and I was in the British Army. I'm a very strong person, and people are very strong. Like, the human spirit's an amazing thing. Don't give up, you know. Sorry, what was your question? Apologies.
No, I was just wondering, how, what kind of damage have you seen in your life, both financially and personally?
I don't know how.
That you think honestly, you might have been spared if this system had worked?
I'm not being dramatic, right? But I don't really know how I'm still alive right now. I don't know how I've survived the last 14 years. Other people haven't survived it, man. This is why it's so serious, because I shouldn't really be here right now, but I am. Do you know what I mean? That's how serious it is. We're not just saying it. Like in these 14 years, right, I've been in trouble with the crime. I've been in trouble, I've got in trouble, and I've lost my jobs, I've been homeless, I've lost relationships, I've lost all contact with all, my family and everything. You get into debt. It messes with your mental health. In just every way you can want to just mess with a person, it just does all of it to you. But it's not all doom and gloom, because there is hope. And this system can be improved. It can. There are solutions, right? And it needs to happen, because this is like people's lives, right? I'm just one person, and there's so many people in this country being affected by this. Jackie Alden, her mum was affected. Her mum Wendy, affected in exactly the same way as me. I'm not the only one, so.
Yeah. And Will, what is the mechanism? If there's this kind of self-referral thing going on, what is the mechanism to then protect people from themselves that you would recommend, rather than the element of human error where, people cannot get recognised?
Well, the truth is we shouldn't be relying on self-exclusion schemes at all. Actually, self-exclusion schemes kind of are based on this expectation that harm is inevitable. Harm from gambling is not inevitable. We can prevent this. And if the government gets serious about putting people's health before profits, we know we can prevent this. So things like slowing down the machine speeds is so important because it will make them less addictive. Stopping gambling from being advertised and promoted. We shouldn't be pushing things that are so harmful to people's health as we are currently in society. And stopping the gambling industry from having influence over regulation and legislation. We'd never allow this with the tobacco industry. Why do we allow the levels of access to our politicians from the gambling industry that we currently see? So stopping this from happening is absolutely possible and achievable. We just need the government to change course from their current policy on this area.
Thank you both so much for coming in. We wish you well.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. The Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport said that gaming centres, bingo venues make a valuable contribution to the local economy of towns and cities across the country, but it's vitally important that the sector protects vulnerable people. It goes on to say that the government is trying to mitigate the risks of harmful gambling.